Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie Bear 13.
And why are you Katie Bear 13 tonight?
Because tonight is the 13th anniversary of Geeks Corner and kicking off the 14th season. But we're gonna pay attention to the 13 tonight.
Okay.
13 is my lucky number. It has been my family's lucky number for ever, basically. So yeah, 13.
You know what I love about that is we did not plan this at all.
We did not.
And we totally made a throwback to season 1 through what, 5, 6?
6.
And it worked.
It did.
Without
It worked out really well.
We just ran with it and it totally worked. So what should people do, Katie?
You should go to geekscorner.live or wherever you are watching. Go into the chat. Say your favorite memories of Geeks Corner from the past 13 years. That's crazy.
You know what's funny is I tell people about this show at like press events or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, we started in 2010. And they're like, wow, that's a long time. I'm like, yeah, we've gone every week since then. Like we have not missed a week in 13 years.
Yeah. And I personally made my first appearance on this show this month 8 years ago.
Which 13 reasons you love Geeks Corner. That's a very good. Put that in the chat. That's a very good question.
That's
Thank you, Bailey. So Katie, do you have a favorite memory or two from the last 13 years of Geeks Corner?
Yes. Well, to play on the first time I was on Geeks Corner, I remember you not knowing it was my birthday until I showed up.
Yeah, and then I thought you were crazy.
Which I was. I mean, if you know the story of how Mr. Daps and I met, you know I'm crazy. I saw this chance to be on Geeks Corner as once in a lifetime. I would not pass it up. It was my 19th birthday, and I did it. It was literally the night of my birthday. There's that. There's also the time that it was the 6th anniversary of Geeks Corner when I brought the donuts.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was very fun.
I like that one. That was fun.
Because what plays in my mind frequently is Cameron going, "Happy 6 years, Geeks Corner, let it be."
Which makes me now think of when he did the opening to Star Wars all a cappella, because that was pretty funny too.
Fair.
I was actually thinking of the first time, I think it was the first time we took Geeks Corner on the road, and that was to Walt Disney World. And of course, wouldn't you know that it started raining when we were supposed to film it? So we filmed in front of the castle at Magic Kingdom in the rain, and there were ducks running around our feet. And me and Johnny, and I remember Matthew was filming us at the time, and now he's our travel agent. So if you have any travel needs with Disney, go to Mouseways Travel. And that's mouseways.com/dapsmagic, and tell them that Mr. Daps sent you, and everybody wins. But no, that time was very funny. Ghost hunting is always a favorite every year, especially since it's now Halloween time. We will have a Halloween episode very soon. Yes, Roger was there. And I think we got some fun things actually in line for this year's Halloween episode. And other funny things, filming music videos, filming puppets are always fun. I always like our special episodes where we do random things like cookie eating for you and Cameron, or decorating and then eating. Is that what it was? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun.
Because he built that like sugar dome thing, and then he just went and he ate it. And I had to try not to laugh.
That's lovely. Yeah. And then I think back about when we started and just how awkward we were and not knowing what was going on. Coffee and ketchup. I was actually at a wedding very recently where we talked about the ketchup cake for my birthday a few years ago, where Murray made a ketchup cake for us, and it smelled. I don't know that anybody will ever understand how terrible that thing smelled, first in the kitchen and then even worse a little bit later on the set, because then it had time to like.
And Murray's wedding cake had no ketchup.
No. Skittles and gravy, very good choice.
I had forgotten about that.
That was a challenge as well. So keep throwing those memories into the chat. We'll throw them into the show throughout the next 25-ish minutes. And but we're gonna get on to the show, I think, now, if that works for you, Katie.
Works for me.
All right. Well, this last week, we were introduced to the new Disneyland Resort Ambassador team, and they will be the team that represents the cast members, the Disneyland Resort, all sorts of things for the next 2 years, starting on January 1st. And they will continue to go on for 2 years. And so on Wednesday night, I was invited along with 2 other media outlets to see the ceremony and the cavalcade and interview our 2 new Disneyland Resort ambassadors, and their names are
Raul and Jada.
very good. I was like, I don't know how to say the middle part of his name, so that's beautiful.
I would say it's Raul Aquino Rojas
Thank you.
and Jada Young.
I can do Jada Young is I can the Aquina thing I was a little bit worried
Aquino?
about. Well,
There's an
'cause-
O at the end.
Oh, it's an O, not an A. But yeah, I will say this was a delightful event, and it was absolutely beautiful with amazing people. And the thing I love about the Disneyland Ambassador program is you kind of see I almost want to say they take the best of all of the cast members and they represent them in 2 people for 2 years. And you get to know these people over the course of 2 years, and you get to do events with them. And almost every time, every event is somehow bettering not just Disney, but the world around them and the world in general. Like whether it's making a park better, or maybe it's donating food to a local organization. But the Disneyland ambassadors really get that privilege to showcase the best of the best of the Disneyland Resort. And with the 2 new ambassadors, it's going to be very fun to get to know them over the course of the next 2 years. And I will say it's going to be bittersweet, because over the last 2 years, getting to know Natalie and Mark much better and waking up at ridiculously early times in the morning, whether it's for Chalk Walk or the return of Chalk Walk, I should say, or going to a park rehabilitation and refreshing in way early in the morning. And anybody who knows me knows I'm not a huge morning person, but I will go to these events because they are always bettering the community. And I feel like I always walk away jazzed up and happier and feeling like the world's a better place because I went to them. And so huge congratulations to both of you, and a huge thank you for Natalie and Mark for the last 2 years, because I just think they've done a fantastic job, and it's been fun to spend time with them, get to do events with them, and see this passing of the torch on Wednesday night.
So that's actually, first and foremost, I want to say a huge congratulations to Raul and Jada. It is not an easy task to become a Disneyland ambassador.
I can only imagine. Actually, I wouldn't want to.
I would not. I don't like interviewing. Interviewing is very scary to me.
I feel like I interview like Robert California does in The Office.
You do?
Because I have always come into every job being like, well, they need me more than I need them. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, you are very Robert California sometimes. You
but
don't even know my real name.
That's not the scenario that they're going into these things.
No, they're being so when I interview, I'm me, but a little bit like polished and all these things.
Yeah.
When you are a Disneyland ambassador, you are purely yourself, but you are presenting in a professional manner. You're presenting for the Disneyland Resort,
but also completely authentic.
And completely authentic and completely yourself. And because if you were inauthentic, that would be something you have to keep up for 2 years. That's not realistic.
Well, and I can only imagine the panel that they have to interview for. Like it was interesting on Wednesday hearing like, oh yeah, they interviewed this morning for their final round of interviews. We just decided a couple hours ago. And I know that's the way it always works. But every time I hear that at one of these events, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
talk about stress. And then they have to turn it around and get it all ready and do a cavalcade and all this other stuff, get it on the slides. And like, it really does showcase the best of Disney.
So a huge congratulations to them. But also a huge congratulations to Natalie and Mark for finishing up an amazing 2 years.
And just being 2 of the nicest people I ever meet.
There was just genuinely this warmth whenever Natalie and Mark were in a room, where you're very drawn to it. It was, you know, when you're at a party and you don't know anybody, but you see that one friendly face and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go hang out with them because that's like my safety blanket.
That's Natalie and Mark.
That was Natalie and Mark.
Yep, totally.
So congratulations on an incredible 2 years. You still have 2 months left, which I'm very grateful for. And if you see them around the parks as a guest, go talk to them, strike up a conversation. It is so fun to get to know Disneyland ambassadors because that's such a fun and rare story. Like, you have to think, since the beginning of it all, there hasn't been that many. It's kind of an exclusive club, except for the year 1996. We don't talk about the year 1996. There was 4. That's a lot.
That's amazing.
But
good for them.
Good for them. I'm trying to think what was happening in 1996.
I actually wondered that too, because it's not really like the Disney decade is kind of winding down. It's not the time of like
Afternoon Avenue.
And it's not really like, oh, Disney California Adventure is opening yet. Like 2001, 4 kind of makes sense. 2005, 4 kinds of makes sense. I feel like we need to ask Doug or something. Why 1996
is the only year.
Or we ask one of the ambassadors. I don't know.
4 ambassadors. But it's just such a special thing that we get to witness. And I feel very grateful that we get to witness this firsthand. But yeah, that's my best advice to a guest is if you ever see a Disneyland ambassador or a Walt Disney World ambassador or an ambassador of,
unless they're on camera,
unless they're
go say hi.
Go say hi, get to ask them questions. And don't just ask them like,
I will say when I go to Japan, I'm kind of hoping I can meet the Tokyo Disney ambassadors.
I just think that you should also ask them fun questions like, what's your favorite Disney ride? What's your favorite Disney snack? The fun questions.
Which we have a video of the new ambassadors answering some of those questions. So check them out on our YouTube channel. But I will say it was a huge honor to get to cover this event. There was only 3 media outlets there. And thank you, Disney, for inviting us. And thank you. I mean, we have been very blessed for the last, I don't even know how many years, but we've gotten to interact and cover events with Disneyland ambassadors for quite some time. And through the years, there's been so many fun memories that have come up. Like I'm thinking of Jessica during the 60th anniversary, and we filmed an interview up in the Dream Suite. And it's one of my favorite interviews I think I've ever done. Part of it just because I think we were at the first interview of the day, so everything was kind of working its way out. And it was just a fun, like we were just having fun doing this thing together. And that's kind of been my experience, whether it's Mikey, whether it's so many different Disneyland ambassadors. But that
was actually fun as we went through the list the other day. We're like, oh, I remember them. I remember that. That was so fun.
Yeah.
Like we went through.
And literally, if you've gotten to the level where you're a Disneyland ambassador, you're just so much fun to interact with, to get to know, to be friends with. And
a beacon, truly.
You really are. And so hat tip to all of you, hats off. And thank you for that. Speaking of milestones, we have reached a milestone here on Geeks Corner. As we mentioned, it is 14, but 13.
But 13.
Which has confused me since day one of Geeks Corner, I will admit. Because Johnny was like, hey, this is how it works for figuring out the organization of TV shows. And I was like, okay, I don't get it, but I'll trust you.
Because the pilot is 0.
Was it 0 or was it 1?
No, so the pilot is 0.
Oh, pilot was 0.
But then
episode 1 is 101.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Episode 1 is 101. So it is the first season, but it is technically in its infancy. It has not had an anniversary yet.
So 13 years later, I'm still confused and haven't figured out, which is why we also do a show number, which is 680, which that I can understand. That means we're 20 episodes away from our 700th episode, which is insane. But we thought it'd be fun tonight, since it is 14, but also 13, to make a video that we had no clue what would happen. We have no clue how it will turn out. It was completely mathematical. And basically what we did is we took the 14th episode for the last 13 years. every year.
So of each season.
Roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're doing it mathematically. Remember this. So we're just doing 52 plus whatever. And then we went 14 minutes in. And we cut about 13 to 14 seconds because it's 14 but 13. Yes, it makes 0 sense numbering the show.
We don't know.
Also, this segment we're about to show you, called 14 but 13, might make 0 sense.
I'm scared.
But what it's going to do is show you the last 13 years of Geeks Corner in a very unique way. We will see how it goes. This really hasn't been proofed.
Always a good start.
It was finished about an hour ago.
Yeah.
But we hope you enjoy 14 but 13. 4 and 14, and that makes 5.
No, but 1 minus 4 is 3, and 14 plus 1 is 15, and 15 divided by 3 is 5.
I like my way better. It's less complicated.
Road, Shell Beach, California.
And if you do go there, please tell them that you're coming because you saw their beans on Geeks Corner. Because that would be kind of amazing if people started showing up. Like, yeah, I saw your beans on Geeks Corner.
Because while all
Google is where all the developers go because it's got a really nice platform. It's open source. You can get into the App Store for free. Apple is really in the creative realm. Music, video, all of that kind of stuff. If you want to develop creative stuff, you go...
for Patrick Stewart.
I bet he could make that happen too.
Probably.
Wouldn't it be awesome if they both came on the show?
Gentlemen, we'll make room.
and it will be glorious. Yeah, we're gonna split it up so that we don't overdo it too much and too much awesome.
Much like Denny's.
Yes, very much like Denny's. We can only do a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
So. Nonsense. Perhaps this will be enough.
Well, this is a large bag of change. Not sure why you're carrying this around or why you're only wearing those.
I'm a Jedi!
Uh-huh. Here, I have an extra change of clothes. I was going to...
compilation, anything, they're gonna have the song from that album on it somewhere. It's almost trite now to put it on like a rom-com Christmas movie. You have to have half a Bing soundtrack on it. Yeah, it feels like the season to me.
Okay.
I actually had, the first time seeing it, pacing was a struggle for me. Second time seeing it was less of a struggle, but I still recognized what I had issues with in the first place.
Yeah, pacing is I mean, if there's the biggest critique of the movie, that
There's a GPS tracker in every mug, so they always know where you are.
Yeah. So Starbucks
And
rebranded.
they're listening to us.
And, well, Starbucks is always listening.
Hello,
Starbucks
Starbucks.
rebranded, and we now have the Been There collection. But Disneyland said we do whatever we want.
Holiday specials of all time, one
I've
way
never
or
seen.
another. The Star Wars Holiday Special introduces Life Day to a waiting world, and Cameron is here to explain it.
yes. So Life Day.
Holiday special, some time to burrow into your heart
Oh, okay.
for your favorite
that's
Star
fair.
Wars.
I am still thinking about Lumpy.
Yeah, there you go.
So
There you go.
he does have a place in my heart.
Mike is asking coming back. We've got Phantasmic coming back. We've got World of Color coming back. We've got Mickey's Mixed Magic coming back. We've got Tale of the Lion
Tale
King
of the
coming
Lion
back. I'm
King.
doing this without notes.
Coming to Fantasyland Theater.
Yeah.
Like Joy to the World or Something very like grand. Like
See Sleigh Ride in there?
Oh, I love Sleigh Ride.
Hallelujah Chorus, I think, could go up there maybe.
Sure.
And there we go.
I
So-
like how when it's my season, you can see me just gradually progress into like. I do think it's funny. The year we were social distancing,
Oh yeah.
how soft spoken I was.
Well,
I
and
was-
I was just like, oh, the set looks so
I was
big.
speaking like this, and I was talking, and da 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 da. Was I okay?
I think we were worried about talking too loudly and like our air over, I don't know, crossing over. I
Or
don't know,
air
something like that.
crossing? I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, that is a unique way to look at the last 13 years. Literally went 14 minutes in, grabbed about 13 to 14 seconds, and I wasn't sure how I was going to clip it. So I think it's technically 14 seconds for each one.
Good.
And hopefully you liked that. And
I like that a lot. Great job, Mr.
and it
Daps.
wasn't as awkward as I thought it was going to be because I was worried it would like cut off mid words. And I literally started on 14 and went to 14.
Some of them did, and that added to comedic effect.
Okay, there you go.
So, I highlights for me were Johnny Five explaining Google. I loved that.
What a different world we lived in then.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
And then also me saying, I'm still thinking about Lumpy.
Poor Lumpy.
Poor Lumpy.
That is true. All right, keep sharing your favorite memories of Geeks Corner in the comments. And we're going to move on now. Is that okay?
That's fine with me.
All right, this last week, the villas at Disneyland Hotel opened on Thursday morning. I was there to cover that as well. And Katie got to walk into the lobby on Sunday. We have toured, well, I have toured the villas at Disneyland Hotel. You've gotten to see some of it. What do you think of this new Discovery Tower at Disneyland Hotel?
Beautiful. I love it.
And we're done. Let's go.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
No, funny thing is that we could walk off set and the microphone would still pick us up.
Which I think would be a funny segment sometime. But
is if we just walked out.
Well, one of us, because somebody has to stay to show.
I'd walk out to my car. I'd
Okay.
start driving.
Anyway, villas.
Villas are beautiful. Feels very stained glass type, like the architecture of the building. The lobby feels so. Do you call it a lobby?
I think so. That's what I've been calling it.
Okay, because I don't call it the Adventureland Tower lobby, but it
kind of is.
Kind of like a foyer.
Sure. Anyway,
I
what do
don't
you
know.
think of it?
Very nice, very homey. I love the mural. It feels so happy.
It feels so Disney. That's really what it is.
You walk up and you see these families looking at their favorite Disney movies and pointing out like, oh, look, Rapunzel's here. And Tiana's
Alice in
here.
Wonderland, Peter Pan, Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's so fun. I will say, congratulations, Disney, because it worked. I walked out of that tower and I went, how can I book a room there? Because
Right.
I would love to stay there.
So I do the opening ceremony and they give you a tour of all the different rooms and different portions of this building and whatever. And I literally walked away. I was like, how do you become a DVC member? Like, because this building, perhaps more than any other Disneyland hotel or Disney hotel building at the Disneyland Resort, felt more Disney to me than anything I've seen in years. Like it just felt like every room you went to, there was Disney magic defined. There were details to be looked at. Some of them very obvious. Like there's some gorgeous mosaics in some of the restrooms in the villas. And then there's also some hidden things. Maybe they're in carpets. Maybe they're along the wall. Maybe they're even in the wallpaper. Like the wallpaper in the Fantasia room, I will just say, nailed it. Like that was brilliant because it's so subtle, but somebody who knows Fantasia is going to be like, oh my gosh, I recognize that. And I'm not going to give away too much stuff, but And even the hallways, like the moment you walk into this building and you see the hallways, they're completely different than any other hallway I've been in a in a Disney hotel, whether it's Florida, whether it's here, whether it's in Paris, and it immediately captivated me and had me looking at the walls, had me looking at the artwork, had me looking at the carpets with the hidden Mickeys everywhere. Like it really did something magical that I frankly wasn't expecting, because I kind of thought it would be more like the Disneyland Hotel, which I love, but it's a little bit more subtle. And you have the things on the bed, the headboards, which there's some magic on the headboards here too. But it wasn't what I expected at all, and it exceeded my expectations completely.
Absolutely. I agree with all of that.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I want to stay there.
Right. If you're not a DBC member, maybe now's the time. I'm sure they won't pay me for saying that, but
If we could get a cut.
if we could, like maybe, I don't know, we need new cameras, so maybe that would be the next step. All right. As we've been doing for the last few weeks, in fact, I think the last 8 weeks or so, it is time for IndieCam. IndieCam was filmed today. We hope you'll enjoy it.
I just love that he flipped the whole thing upside down.
He's like, it's not working. I'm just going to flip it over.
So what was very funny, and if you caught it in the beginning, so it was frozen, because I like to freeze it, because he eats so fast. He's a living vacuum. But he kept trying to bite things, and he was very mad that it wouldn't come up. So he's like,
not working.
Yeah, he's very funny to watch eat. 10 out of 10. I enjoy it every time.
Me too. All right, welcome to Geeks Corner Plus. We're going to continue on with the show. And we have a new show in the Rivers of America. It is called The Heartbeat of New Orleans, a living mural. I saw it on Friday night in person. You've seen it on YouTube.
Yeah.
What do you think of this new show?
I like it. Honestly, I think that something is better than nothing. and to put together a show, that's not easy work to do. There's a lot of programming involved. There's putting together a show. There's making sure it makes sense. There's all those
Animation,
all those things.
Yep.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Everybody say it with me. Kinetic energy. Disneyland thrives off of kinetic energy. This is just another piece of that. I also love the Tianification of New Orleans Square. I think it's deserved.
which this is a more indirect Tianification, to use
Yes.
your word. Yeah.
Hey, you used my word. I'm so
Mhm.
proud of you. But yeah, I like this a lot.
I thought it was really charming. I enjoyed watching it on Friday night. I almost stayed for a second one just because it was so much fun. I do hope it becomes a Fantasmic pre-show.
It would also be a fantastic pre-show.
It would be both, and it really does help bring all of New Orleans Square into Critter Country together. And I think that's kind of where the whole thing is headed. Is you've got the new Tiana's Palace, you'll have the Haunted Mansion expansion that will kind of like go right into the bayou. And I feel like when you watch almost every Haunted Mansion movie or special, like you have the mansion and then it kind of goes out into the bayou at some point, like intentionally or not. I feel like this has happened every time. And so I think you'll go to the carriage house and that just naturally will lead into the bayou of Critter Country. And I think that's a really solid thing for them to be doing. And I love that they're even doing that with the way they tell stories on the Rivers of America, which kind of then becomes almost more of an extension of New Orleans Square, as opposed to, I've always considered it more Frontierland.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just pulls everything together and makes it all flow wonderfully. And I think it's very cute and charming, and I want to see it again in person and not look through a lens of a camera when I'm filming it, because it really was a fun show. And I think for 5 minutes that you can walk up and see, do it. Another thing you can walk up and see just by going to your computer is the Wish trailer, which has broken records. In fact, it's the most viewed trailer since Frozen 2's trailer. But we've watched it. What do you think of the new trailer for Wish, Disney Wish?
Very cute.
Not the ship.
I have been keeping my mouth shut since I watched this trailer so that I can give you guys my thoughts here on Geeks Corner. You guys don't even have to pay for this. This is just my thoughts, my raw unfiltered thoughts. Let's see.
Which are?
The trailer ends with a bunch of trained singing animals behind a door. What movie
Why
does
don't
that?
you just say what kind of animals they are? Because
They're chickens.
They're
But
chickens.
what movie does that sound like?
What?
Everybody say it with me. Meet the Robinsons.
Mm.
When Franny trains the frogs
Oh, there
to
you
sing
go.
jazz.
There you go.
I literally was like, okay, so Meet the Robinsons
So you were
flops.
sold the moment the chickens happened.
No, I said, oh, so Meet the Robinsons flops. So you think you can just reuse tropes?
Yes.
I will be sat in the movie theater, but
know where it came from. But that's
respect history.
But that is the whole thing. Is Disney Wish really is? It seems like an ode to previous Disney movies. Whether
It's not a nod to Meet the Robinsons. I know it's not.
It might be though.
I'm delusional.
Because the directors just did an interview and they were talking about all of the different nods to the past Disney movies. Maybe there is a nod to Meet the Robinsons. We don't know.
I say Meet the Robinsons to people and they go, I've never heard of that movie.
Well, that is their loss. But what do you think of the whole trailer beyond just singing chickens?
I like it. I think it's very fun. I don't want to do it a disservice by comparing it to a bunch of other Disney movies, so I'm not going to do that. I do think the premise is very fun. I like wishing upon a star and then the star comes to life. Like
I like having a Disney villain.
I like having a Disney villain.
Because at the end of the day, there are some times
which
a hero and a villain in a story, and I like that.
I love. There are certain actors that they either play a hero or they play a villain, right? And it's very like if they try to play a villain, but you always know them as a good guy, you're like, this doesn't work in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
or they try and play good guy, they play a villain. You're like, this doesn't work.
Sure.
Chris Pine, this works.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, it does.
And honestly, if I didn't know it was Chris Pine before watching the trailer, I don't know that my brain would have immediately gone, oh, that's
I would
Chris
not
Pine.
have.
And I think that's a very good thing.
He's a great James T. Kirk. He's also,
He's okay.
I like him as Kirk.
I like him. I don't know that he's great.
I would say he's great.
Okay.
I think he's a great Kirk.
Different show.
He's different. He's different than William Shatner's Kirk. But he's a great Kirk, but he's also a very fun villain. I'm also thinking of David Tennant, who David Tennant, I wholeheartedly
He
believe.
can do anything though. Like,
But it's like he could play the creepiest villain that's brainwashing people. And I'm like, ooh, scary. And then he plays the doctor, and I'm like, yay, adventures.
yeah, exactly.
Or he plays a demon, and I'm like, yay. I have not watched Dungeons and Dragons, though I would like to, because I think he'd be very fun as the bard. But no, I honestly 100% sold on this trailer. I wasn't really sure what to think beforehand, but I'm very excited for the film. So
I think it's gonna be great. It looks like a beautiful movie. Like, just looking at all the visuals, it looks fun. The music seems good so far. The characters look great. I'm glad they have a villain. It looks like it's got some fun humor in it, and like, I can't wait to see it when it comes out in November.
yeah, agreed.
All right, we are in Geeks Corner Plus. If you have any questions or comments from the last 13 years that you've been holding in that you just want to get in the comments and have us respond to, let us know. We'll stick around for a couple more minutes.
This is the time where I tell you guys what I've been watching, because you guys care so much. I started Good Omens, as you could tell if I started talking about David Tennant. Very fun show. You watched part of it today because
I didn't really.
it
I
was
was working.
it was on while you were working.
Yeah, I was.
And
not
I
paying
was
attention.
curled up in my little Halloween blanket.
I was like, I
falling
would
asleep.
not use this as my saying I watched, because I was not paying attention. And
It was on while you were in
but
the
I
room.
had zero interest in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
what could we look forward to in season 14? Me.
No, well, you're going to have an international show from
Yeah.
2 different countries, which
Sure.
I don't know that we've done that before.
We also are
We
going to
have
have.
done international before, but not live from 2
There's
countries.
going to be a second international show that we have not figured out the logistics of yet.
I don't know what you're talking about.
February.
Oh, that's fine. That's not a problem.
A second international show.
Yeah, I already know how that's happening.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna have a holiday show that will be a blast. Geeksmas will be returning.
Imagination is a blast.
We have an idea already for the Halloween episode, I believe, that we will be airing in a few weeks, which it's hard to believe it's just 3 weeks away.
We do have apparel for Indy for the Dapsies.
Yeah, we got a few things planned.
excited,
For
get
a
excited.
show that doesn't really plan beyond the week of. We've got a few things that we're looking forward to. So
Indiana might get a Dapsy this year.
no, he won't. That's against the rules.
I have a Dapsy.
Before you're on the show.
I was already on the show though.
I don't know. Actually, we have given Dapsies to our team.
Yes. If you are on the Patreon, other things you could look forward to is that without our knowledge, bingo cards are being put together, because if we know about the bingo cards, we could influence the bingo cards.
That is true. So
and
you
that's
have
like
to,
gambling.
So the way that's going to work is you have to join the Patreon. Clocky and or Bailey will be posting something in the Patreon, and we'll email you the bingo cards, and you can play along on Tuesday nights, maybe even before I go to Japan, and that will be interesting. And hopefully somebody wins.
Hopefully. But the thing about bingo cards is that we cannot know what is on the bingo cards, because then we could influence.
It would mess up the game.
And that is like betting on a horse, right?
That you already, you have the inside knowledge. Not
yeah,
gonna
no
work so
insider
well.
trading here. That's
Nope.
a crime.
Not at all.
We don't commit crimes on Geeks Corner.
That is correct. At least we hope. All right. Well, we are running out of time tonight. Katie, what should people do?
Go to dapsmagic.com. Check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens. Subscribe to our mailing list. Find our Patreon, where we've been having a lot of fun. There's a lot of really fun exclusive content there. I'm even a patron, if that tells you anything. So,
and make sure to check out our YouTube channel. We got a ton of videos going up, and we're closing in on 8 80,000. I almost said the wrong number. 80,000 subscribers. Help us get there. Invite your friends, family, the person on the street that you don't know to subscribe to. They might like it.
They might.
To Daps Magic's YouTube channel. But that is all the time we have for you this week as we enter our 14th season. Yeah, that's right. 14th season. Thank you for watching. We will see you round the corner.
Bye.